Hi everyone, it's Rebecca Bly from Live Beyond the Mat. Today I've got a 30-minute yoga practice for you that focuses on hips and shoulders and is done completely on the ground. The thing that I love about yoga is that no matter your energy and mood for the day, there's a practice that can meet you where you're at. So if there are days you don't feel like standing up and doing a lot of work, you can practice low to the ground. I call this an intermediate practice because I'm not going to give a lot of cues on a handful of the poses, which most beginners are pretty familiar with. So as always, do what works for you and your body today, and you can always take a look at the video first before you decide to practice. So let's get started. So let's start just by lying down on our backs. You can bend your knees and place your feet on the floor. And let's take 3 deep breaths. Breathing in through the nose, feel your chest and your belly really expand. Exhale out through the mouth, emptying your lungs completely. Let's do that again. Take a deep breath in through your nose, softening through the stomach as you let your belly expand. Exhale out through the mouth, all the way. One more like that. Deep breath in through the nose. As you exhale, let your head rest heavy into the floor, grounding also through your hips and your shoulders. And then to continue the breath, we're just going to breathe in and out through the nose, lips closed, taking deep belly breaths through our entire practice until the end. I'll keep reminding you to breathe as we go. And let's begin by just drawing both knees in towards the chest. You can rock side to side a little bit, just feeling the floor massage your lower back. And then let's hold just the right knee in towards the chest. Go ahead and stretch your left leg out straight down on the mat as if you're standing on it. Feeling your legs pull in 2 different directions, your inner thighs move apart from one another. Breathing here. We're going to take the left arm up to a letter Y. Go ahead and draw your right knee up and out to the side with your right hand. Keep your shoulders dropped down. You'll feel your chest opening, your hips opening. And we're going to move into a big toe stretch here. So you probably want to use a strap. I'm going to take the strap around the sole of the foot, just between where the ball and the sole of the foot actually meet. That's the best spot for the strap on the foot. You're going to extend the leg up towards the sky. Remember, you can keep your knee a little bit bent. Most of us can't really do a full straight leg right at the beginning of practice. I want you to hold your leg up into the strap so that if you had let go of the strap, your leg wouldn't just crash to the floor. So it's doing some amount of work holding itself up. You're going to straighten your arms, make sure your elbows aren't bent. You're just going to walk your hands all the way up the strap. And if you can reach your feet, then you don't need to use the strap. We're just looking for some leverage here. So just breathing up and down this leg. I'm waiting for it to gently loosen up. Let's let that one go. We're going to put the strap to the side. Go ahead and draw your knee in towards your chest again, but this time holding behind the thigh. We're going to come into half happy baby pose. So you want your right leg extended a little bit off to the side. You're going to hold behind the thigh and go ahead and extend so that the foot, the sole of the foot, is looking at the ceiling. You want your shin bone to be straight up and down. Again, you're welcome to use a strap here if you can't reach your foot. We're going to hold onto the edges of the foot. Keep your chest open, shoulders grounded, and reaching through your left leg. Go ahead and breathe here. Feeling those inner thighs move apart. And then we're going to come into reclining pigeon pose. So bend your left knee first. Go ahead and place your right ankle on your left thigh. And let's interlace the hands behind the left thigh, bringing that figure 4 shape in towards the body. Again, relax your shoulders. Keep your head and shoulders grounded as you bring your left thigh towards you and actively press your right knee away. You can do that just with the strength of your hip, or you can take your right hand and gently press that knee forwards, away from your body. From here, we're going to take a little bit of an unusual twist. Go ahead and put your left foot back on the floor, keeping your figure 4 shape in your legs. Extend your arms out to the side like a letter T, and then you're going to drop your legs over to the left. Your right foot is trying to come flat to the floor. You want to keep your head and chest facing the ceiling. And then we're going to encourage the right hip open a little bit. Go ahead and take your left hand to your inner right knee and press it forward. Take a couple nice deep breaths here. Just notice what's happening. Feel what you feel. And then we're going to release out back to center. We're going to go into this shape again, just a little bit deeper. So once again, bring your figure 4 this time in towards your chest. So instead of starting with the left foot on the floor, it's up in the air. So we're going a little bit deeper this time. Drop your legs again over to the left. Arms out to letter T. Your chest is opening towards the sky. And if you want that extra assist, left hand again gently pushes into the inner right knee, pressing forward. Breathe through the sensations you're feeling. And then let's let it go. Come back to center. Bring both knees in towards your chest. And then lengthen your legs out long. We're going to roll onto our left side here. You can rest your head either in your hand or on a long arm. And stacking your legs, you want your feet just a little bit in front of your hips, just for balance. We're going to reach back and catch the right foot. You want to start by drawing your foot towards your right sits bone. Make sure your knee isn't high up in the air. You want it in line with your hip. And you might just stay right here. That might be enough stretch. If you'd like, you can roll onto your back, coming into Ardha Virasana, so half hero's pose. You might need to bend your left knee, roll onto your back, and you're trying to aim your right foot a little bit outside your hip so that you're not pinning your foot underneath you on the ground. To get it off to the side, you might lift your hips off the floor and rotate a little bit to the right to try and get your lower back flat on the ground again. You want the top of your right foot to be grounded on the floor rather than the toes and the foot to be flexed and pointing off to the right. You might need to keep your left leg bent, that's fine. You might be able to extend it out and place it on the floor. If this is putting too much compression on your lower back, too much pressure on your ankle joint or your knee joint, then I would just roll back to your side and stay with that first variation we did. If you're lying on your back, you might choose to take your arms up to cactus or grab your elbows overhead. Let's take a few moments just in whatever shape you're in, just to breathe and notice what's happening. Good. So if you're in half hero pose, let's all roll onto our left side again. Slowly extend that leg out straight. No matter where you are, we're going to flex your right foot. Roll back down onto your back. Bend both knees. Place your feet on the floor. Great. So let's do the other side here. You're going to start by bringing your left knee in towards your chest, stretching your right leg out long as if you're standing on it, placing the heel on the floor, just feeling those inner thighs move apart from one another. Relaxing through your shoulders, keeping your chest open. Let's open the chest even more. Take your right arm to a letter Y. Pull your left knee a bit off to the side. Make sure you're not leaning over when you do this. You want to keep your body centered, but just your leg moving off to the side. From here, let's go into big toe stretch. right? So taking your strap to the place on the foot where the sole and the ball meet, extending your leg up towards the sky, straightening your arms. So that means walking your hands up the strap. We don't want to use bent elbows because that puts too much strain on the body. Keep your head and shoulders on the floor and extend through both legs. Remember, please bend your knee, bend your left knee if you need to. It's no problem. If you're feeling something, you're doing it perfectly. Just breathe through the sensations that you're feeling up and down your leg. And from here, let's move into happy baby pose. So bending your right knee and placing your foot on the floor. Put the strap to the side and hold your left knee in towards your chest behind the thigh. Go ahead and extend your shin bone so it's straight up and down and the sole of your left foot is looking at the ceiling. You can use a strap here to place around the foot or hold the edges of your foot with your hands. Go ahead and reach out through your right leg. Keep your chest open, relax your face, and just breathe. Notice what you're feeling. From here, we're going to go into the pigeon, figure 4 stretch. So place your left ankle onto your right thigh. Interlace your hands behind your right thigh and bring that shape in towards your body. Again, you want your right thigh moving towards you and your left knee moving away from you. You can do that with the strength of your own hip or do a little self-assist by using your hand, just pressing lightly on your inner knee. Again, notice the sensations through your hips. Breathe as you feel them. And then we're going to take this into a twist. So placing your right foot first on the floor, extend your arms out to the sides, and then drop your legs over to the right. You're aiming for your left foot to land flat on the floor with your knee pointing up towards the ceiling. If you'd like an assist, take your right hand and gently press on your inner left knee, moving it away from the body. Keep your breath moving. Let's release this and go into it a little bit deeper. So come back to center on your back. Figure 4 legs folded now in towards your body, close to the chest. Arms out to the side. Let's drop our legs over to the right again. Trying to get your left foot flat on the floor. If it doesn't make it, don't worry about it. Right hand can gently press your inner left knee. Just breathing into what you notice. Good, let's release here. Come back onto your back and release your feet to the floor. Let's roll onto your right side. Again, resting your head either in your hand or on a long arm, whatever's more comfortable for you. Legs are straight and stacked, and your feet are just a tiny bit forward of your hips. Just for balance, we're going to reach the left hand back and catch the top of your left foot. Bring your knee in line with your hip and start to draw your foot towards your left sits bone. This might be enough for you today. If you'd like to roll onto your back into reclining half hero's pose, you can do that now. So roll onto your back, bend your right knee first. You want to really pull your left foot towards the side of your hips. Your toes are actually pointing up towards your head. You might need to lift your hips off the floor. Do a little scooch. Just take that small rotation to the left. Tuck your tail under. Place your hips back down on the floor. Right leg can be extended if you like. If that doesn't work, don't worry about it. Arms can come up over your head like the cactus, or you can grab onto opposite elbows here. This is a pretty intense opening, so make sure you breathe and make sure you modify. If this is straining either your knee or your ankle, or you're feeling too much compression in your lower back, then remember it's not worth it. Just roll onto your side and stick with that first variation we did. Good, let's roll back out of this. So everybody rolling back onto your right side. Extending your left leg out, flex that foot. And release, coming back onto your back. Both knees in towards the chest now. We're going to come into full happy baby pose. So bring both knees in. We're going to hold behind the thighs. Drawing the knees slightly apart, maybe a little bit wider than your shoulders. And then extending both shin bones so they're straight up and down. We want to reach for the outside edges of the feet here so that we keep our chest nice and open. I want you to ground your head and your shoulders here. If your lower back has come off the floor and is up in the sky, then reaching for the feet just isn't really worth it. So you want to take your hands either to your ankles or just staying on the backs of the thighs. You're still going to get plenty of stretch and sensation and opening. So we want our head and shoulders grounded, our lower back grounded. Just breathing into this shape. And then go ahead, I want you to pull with your hands, just pull on your feet like you're trying to draw your shin bones like a drill straight down into the ground. At the same time, I want you to push your feet into your hands. One more nice deep breath here. And go ahead and release. Place your feet on the floor. Take them as wide apart as your mat and just do some windshield wipers here. Good. We're going to roll over now onto hands and knees. Preparing for some cat and cow. Feel your chest lifted up from the floor so you're not sinking down and collapsing. You're a nice solid structure here. So we can do some breath work in cat and cow. Start by taking a nice deep breath in right where you are. And as you exhale, I want you to round your spine, look underneath you at your navel, drawing your tail under and pressing your hands into the floor. As you inhale, lift your head and your tail, drop your belly button towards the floor, roll your shoulders back. Good. Exhale and round the spine again into Halloween cat shape through the spine. As you inhale, heart draws forward, belly sinks towards the floor, tail lifts up. Good. And just moving back and forth now at your own pace. As you breathe in, feel your heart moving through the frame of your arms. As you breathe out, feel your hands press down into the ground and your belly and ribs lift up, just like an abdominal crunch. Good. After your next cat pose, come back into table position and let's move into Anahata Asana, one of my favorites. Your legs are going to stay just the same as they are. You're going to take your hands far forward until your forehead comes down to the floor. Hands are rooting down into the ground and shoulders width apart. I want you to press your shins down into the ground as if you're standing on them and gently lift your bottom ribs up. Feel a broadening across the tops of your shoulders and your upper back and breathe. From here, we're going to come back into table position. Bringing your hands under your shoulders, take a cat pose. And then separate your knees a little bit wider apart than your hips. Bring your big toes to touch and go back into child's pose. Take a rest here. Nice full deep breath. Resting your hips back on your heels. Good. We're going to come into what I call painting a rainbow now. Take your right hand back by your right foot and place your left hand at the midline of the mat. You're going to lift up onto that one hand and both shins. You're going to reach your right arm up to the sky, taking a full twist. Then reach forward as far as you can, squaring your chest towards the ground.
and then coil back in, rounding the spine as you come back to start. Let's do that again. Breathe in, lift up, touch the sky, reach forward, and draw back in. Again, inhale, lift, really lifting your chest away from the floor, drawing your hips back as you reach forward and coiling back in. Good. This time we're going to pause in the middle. Go ahead and lift up, reach for the sky, reach forward, and then let your right hand float straight down to the mat. It's going to stay on the right side of your body here. I want you to move your left hand off to the left in line with your chest, coming into Ardha Anahata Asana, or half heart chakra pose. You're going to turn your head to the left, put your temple down on the ground, and imagine you're trying to get your armpit, your right armpit, towards the floor. Breathe into your right shoulder here. Press your left hand down, press your shins down, and gently lift your rib cage up in towards the body. Good. Bring your left hand back in so you can push up to table and then cat stretch. It should feel really good. Then take your left hand one small step forward and we're going to thread the needle. Take your your right arm underneath your left, trying to get your right shoulder down to the floor. Again, standing on your shins, I want you to take your left arm all the way overhead to the floor and start to walk that hand over to the right behind your head. Take a moment and just pick up your head just a little bit from the floor. Lengthen out through the crown and then place your head back down. You might even start to look underneath you and start to look towards the ceiling as you keep walking your left hand over to the right. Find a position that works. This is a very deep twist. And then I want you to push the floor underneath your left hand to the left to get some leverage for your twist. When you've finished, bring your left hand back underneath the shoulder so you can push back up. Let's do a cat stretch. Should feel like a great counter pose. And again, come back to child's pose. Bring your right hand to the midline. Bring your left hand back by your foot. We're going to paint the rainbow on this side. Go ahead and lift up. Really lift your chest from the floor. Reach your left arm to the sky. Then reach forwards, pulling your hips back in opposition, and then coiling back in, back to start. Good. Inhale, lift up, reach for the sky, reach forward, coil back in. One more time. Lift, reach for the sky, reach forward, coil back in. Good. This time we lift, reach forward, place your left hand down. Remember, it's on the left edge of the mat. Right hand is going to move off to the right side. In line with the chest, you're going to turn your head to the right, lay your temple down on the floor. Try and sink your chest towards the earth. Standing on your shins, press your right hand down and lift your ribs up to the back of the body. Breathe here. Ardha Anahata Asana. Good. When you're done, press down into your right hand, lift back up, take a cat pose to counter stretch your spine. Good. Then take your right hand, just one hand step forward, and you're going to thread your left arm underneath the right. Bringing your left shoulder down to the floor, take your right hand overhead towards the top of your mat, start to walk it to the left. Remember to realign your head so your chin doesn't get stuck in towards your chest. It's not very comfortable there. So maybe lifting your head, lengthening out through the crown, and placing your head back down. I want you to push the floor underneath your right hand to the right. and start to maybe twist a little bit deeper, maybe even turning your head looking up towards the ceiling. Good. Place your right hand back down, right underneath your shoulder. We're going to push back up and lift. Take a cat stretch. And come into child's pose. Just take a pause. Notice what's happening. So let's come forward all the way onto the stomach here. We're going to take a nice chest opener, work a little more into the shoulders as well. So from lying on your stomach, take your right arm straight out to the right, spread your fingers apart, and we're going to roll onto your right side. Keep walking your right arm out as if you're trying to separate your arm from your chest. You're going to stack your left leg on top of the right, or if you like, you can put your left foot down on the floor behind your right for balance. I want you to lift your hips and scooch them forward, sort of back to the midline of the mat, so that your body is more like the mountain pose, properly aligned. This way we can go deep into opening the chest. Rest your head on the floor. Breathe here. Your left arm is going to be in front of your chest, just lightly pressing off the floor to help you rotate and go a little bit deeper if you even need to. Breathe here. Try to relax into this opening. And then let's release. Come back to your stomach. Let's do the other side. Take your left arm out, straight in line with the shoulder. You're going to roll onto your left side. Keep reaching your left arm out farther as you roll, and then lift up your hips, scooch them back towards the midline of the body. Place your head on the floor. Remember, right knee can bend. You can put your foot down behind you. Breathe here into this opening. See if you can relax through the tension that you're feeling, letting your muscles gently release and open. Good. Let's release this side. Come back onto your stomach. Let's prepare for Bhujangasana Cobra pose. This is a variation where we take our hands nice and wide apart so that we can really feel that opening in the chest. So you're going to take your hands actually off of the mat and give a slight turn out to your hands. You're going to reach long through your legs. Let your feet be at least hips width apart, if not as wide apart as the mat. Good. So grounding your hands on the floor, I want you to start to pull the floor underneath your hands back towards your feet. You'll feel your chest start to move forward, but you're not going to go anywhere because you're grounded through your hips on your sticky mat. I want you to start to peel your chest up from the floor as you bend your elbows, extending through the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. At the same time, keep reaching back through your legs. Press the tops of your feet down into the floor. So you're pulling your body in two different directions. Legs back, chest forward. Feel your shoulder blades drawing together and almost pressing the back of your heart again forward through the frame of your arms. You don't have to come up super high, just as high as you like, but we are working the arms here. To come back down, I want you to pull even farther forward with your chest, lengthening out through your entire body as you come back down to the floor. Good. Let's bring our hands back in towards the chest. We're going to bend our knees and point our toes up towards the sky. I want your knees to be a little bit wider apart than hips. All this work we've done has fully prepared us for full pigeon pose. So you're going to start by coming into a modified plank position. Push your body up from the floor. Again, knees are bent. You can bring your big toes together. They may or may not touch. It doesn't really matter. We're going to start to, again, pull the floor under your hands back as you peel your chest forward, almost popping it forward. Begin to sink your hips towards the ground. Okay, your hips may or may not come all the way to the floor. You want to ground down through the thighs, pull your chest forward, and then if you'd like, you can go ahead and extend the head back, reaching for your toes. Maybe your head and your toes will touch. And if they don't, just do it in your mind. It's just as good. Good. After you've tapped your head with your toes, we're going to slowly lengthen out through the spine again. Pull your abdominals in, lift your hips up, and move back slowly into child's pose. Let's just take a few nice deep breaths here. Again, feeling what you feel, noticing what's happening. Let's flip over now onto the back, lying down for a few moments in Shavasana, corpse pose. Go ahead and let yourself take up a little bit of space here. You can take your feet wide apart. Take your arms into the letter A and turn your palms up to face towards the ceiling. Go ahead and relax your head deep into the floor. Remember, you can always put something underneath your knees if your back is feeling a little bit tight. We're going to just let our muscles relax from deep inside the body and let yourself find stillness. And even relax the muscles of the face and the jaw. And we'll just rest here quietly for a few minutes. You might see if it's possible to let go a little bit more deeply, relax a little more fully. If you notice your thoughts sort of drifting away into anything other than what's right here, right now, just gently guide yourself back, bring your attention back to this body, relaxing down on the floor. You might need to just take a breath, and as you exhale, relaxing, just letting yourself recenter and come right back here. Let's begin to come back. You can wiggle your fingers and your toes. You feel ready, bringing your knees in towards your chest, rolling over onto your side and coming up to sit. And this concludes our practice for today.